Hello, this is our weekly Oracle card reading for the week from the 16th of February 2019 to the 22nd. So I've drawn 4 cards from The Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid and 1 card from the Spirit Animal Oracle, also by Colette Baron-Reid. Okay, for our anchor card we have All That Glitters. Now there's some interesting things that come up in this spread, and as always I'm asking how we might best work with the energies that will be present this week. Looking at All That Glitters opposite Treasure Island and Flexible opposite the Fates, and moving on and telling the whole story in a flow system, we can see that it could be tempting this week to be attracted to and distracted by shiny things. Something that promises to be shiny and new, yet we need to dig a little bit deeper and look under the surface. And that phrase always comes to mind when I see this card. If you think it's too good to be true, it probably is. And look, we're only human. I think it's a real sign that we never really left the cave. Is if you see something glittery and shiny, you're like, whoa, ooh, what's that? And you have to remember that a lolly wrapper can be glittery and shiny just as much as gold. And that's the thing, all that glitters isn't gold. All that glitters isn't always valuable, and it isn't always what we need. And I feel like there's some challenges coming out when we've got the Fates and it's asking us to be flexible. I feel like we have some challenges coming up to say that we really need to go the distance. We know what is right for us. We know intuitively what's true, and it's often can be the more boring thing, not the glittery shiny thing. And it means, well, I'm getting the feeling that what this means is this week we need to have stamina and diligence, and we need to be faithful and loyal to our own goals and stick with the program. And know that the rewards will come. Treasure Island down here is saying the rewards will come, yet we need to avoid getting trapped in you know, the habit of being distracted by things that are all shiny and glittery and that promise us the world, yet we know they don't deliver. And sometimes we're looking for distractions because where we're at is quite painful or uncomfortable. So rather than sitting with where we're at and what's coming up for us, we're looking for distractions. And you know, in this day and age, it's so easy to be distracted by so many things. And there are people out there, you know, utilizing things like, pardon me, the internet and social media to like their goal is to distract us. And you know, you can look at, it's a little bit insidious, you know, many levels and many institutions, their goal is to distract us because they don't want us to be questioning and they don't really want us to know the truth. So we need to remember that even though things might be a little bit tough, they might be a little bit challenging, we need to be, you know, working on our goals for the long term and not being distracted by short-term promises and shiny objects that promise us the world, yet we know don't deliver. Now, being flexible, especially opposite the Fates, means that some things are going to come up this week, probably universally or in our own lives, which are kind of fated. This is the Fates card to me is what it does talk about the Serenity Prayer. It is about accepting life on life's terms. We're co-creating our lives with the divine, yet life has its own plan, and we're not in control of other people's plans and their co-creations, their desires or actions, and we're not in control of the whole bigger plan. We need to trust that a higher power has a plan and that that plan's unfolding perfectly, even if we can't see it or understand it, and that we need to know that when we accept life on life's terms, things are going to happen and we may not like it, yet there's no real point fighting it. What we need to do is look at our own personal agency and our own personal power. How can we be flexible in these situations when things come up for us and we find it challenging? How can we be flexible so that we don't get distracted, we don't get knocked off from our goals, and we see the plan through? How can we make sure that life and other people's creations doesn't derail us from, you know, living our best life, from our co-creations, and from achieving our goals. I really feel like the message is to keep the focus on us, and to keep the focus on us living a very flexible life. And that means keeping your mind flexible too, having flexible attitudes. The attitude with which we bring to a challenge determines so much of like how we're going to go through that challenge. Are we going to suffer through it, or are we going to breeze through it? And just keep remembering that so much does depend on our own attitudes. You know, that affects our whole quality of life. With Treasure Island too, I want to say that the focus is on us this week, because what I feel like Treasure Island is saying in this spread is, you know, sometimes those long-term goals, seeing them through, that becomes our treasure. And looking at, okay, having the mental fortitude and the insight and the intuition and the ability to see something shiny and see that, you know, someone's waving this glittery flag in front of us, yet seeing through it, seeing that it's inauthentic, and understanding and valuing authenticity and realness in our lives and true progress. And so Treasure Island, I really feel, is saying we have the treasure inside of us. Like those, look for those gifts. The gifts mightn't be the money, the outside status symbols. The gifts might be what we're learning along this journey as life challenges us, as we co-create our life. Like Colette says, between the two pillars, you know, our free will and life on life's terms. The treasure, and the other thing is too, that all that Glitters is saying is perhaps we are gleaning treasure and yet we're not recognizing it for what it is. So we really need to examine our lives, reflect on each day this week and say, what are the gifts? What are the gifts that I'm gleaning from these situations in my life? From learning these new mindsets. And yes, they're going to take time, and we need to be flexible. We need to keep an open mind. Perhaps we need to let go of outdated, you know, ways of thinking and values and patterns of behavior. And we need to really examine what is the treasure that we're gleaning, and hang on to that and be grateful for that and share that. Wisdom is such a gift. You know, being wiser than you were the day before, that's making progress, and that's a gift you can share with others. Now, Koala Spirit is our animal guide that's jumped in, and I always ask for a guide to step forward from the second deck to support us with anything that comes up during the main reading and to offer some more insights. So Koala Spirit is saying that Spirit has a plan. We need to trust in that. And when the Fates card comes up, it reminds us that we're not in charge of everything, and thank God someone with higher wisdom is, and we need to have faith in that. Koala Spirit is saying we have an abundance around us. We need to slow down and take in all the gifts that are around us, all the true gifts. You know, they're not gold leaf chocolate cupcakes, they're gum leaves. And we need to really be nourished by what is already in our lives. What we can see there is an abundance of. Koalas hang out in gum trees, and that's all they eat is leaves. And they have an abundance of leaves around them when they're surviving in good environments. We're not chopping down their trees. And koala, they don't move a lot because their food is not very energy dense. Gum leaves provide their nutrition, but they need to eat a lot of them to get it. So what they're saying is we need to look at the environments we're immersed in. I keep feeling like in our mind, the mental environments we're dwelling in, and also our physical and emotional environments, and soak up the gifts that are already around us. Now, having a gratitude practice is fantastic. I have it written up somewhere where I'll see every day, you know, what are you grateful for right now? And doing that practice, you know, 3 things you're grateful for every day at the end of the day. I mean, if you're having a really rough day, sometimes it's good to stop and just do that gratitude practice. You could set an alarm on your phone, something like that. And so Koala Spirit is saying, look at your surroundings, be grateful for what you're already receiving in life, and know that that abundance is going to multiply. Remember to share and know that and trust that there is a plan, and we need to slow down, because otherwise we miss it. Like it's saying, we might miss the gifts because we're being distracted and being too hurried. Slow down, become more aware, and receive the gifts that are already around you. Now, blessings on your week. I'll be posting this video on Kylie Savage Psychic Medium YouTube channel, and also on my Facebook page, Kylie Savage Psychic Medium, and also on Instagram. It's Kylie _Savage SAVIDGE _Psychic Medium. Wishing you all the best.